I don't know about you guys, but every congregation that I've been to, there's always been at least one, sometimes maybe more than one, right? But always at least one person in the religion, in the cult of Jehovah's Witnesses that can sing. They can sing their ass off, right? So when we were singing the kingdom melodies, they would be like, stay awake, stand firm, grow mighty. And it had a high-pitched voice, right? Mighty. I would look behind and be like, damn, you could sing. You could sing. And when I think about that song, that was actually one of my favorite songs. Stay awake, stand firm, and grow mighty. And the irony is that I'm using their song as a apostate title, right? That's the irony. I'm twisting the words a bit. Because I want all ex-witnesses, I want all PMOs to stay awake, stand firm, and grow mighty. But not in a sense that Jehovah's Witnesses are telling you. I'm not trying to gaslight you guys. I'm not trying to lie to you guys like the witnesses are doing. Like the organization is doing, right? I'm telling you guys to stay awake, stand firm, and grow mighty. In the sense that you guys know, if you're a PMO or if you're an ex-witness, you know that this is not the truth. You know that you guys are being shunned from your family and so-called friends and the truth. And the organization. Wow, I said the T word. I said the T word. Wow. I take that back. The organization, not the truth. It's not the truth, right? But anywho, you guys are being shunned by your family and friends and the organization, right? And some of you guys might kind of want to go back. You might feel obligated to go back only because you're lonely and you feel the need to be surrounded by so-called loved ones. But are those people really your loved ones? Are they really your loved ones? Do they really love you? I want to share my personal experience. So those of you that haven't been watching my page, my channel for a while, right? Those of you that haven't. Those of you that have, you already know my story. You know that I was reinstated as an apostate. I came out and said, hey, the elders reinstated an apostate, right? I came out and said that publicly. I went viral on social media, on Facebook and Instagram. I went viral. Of course, I got blocked and unfriended from witnesses. Of course, that was bound to happen, right? But I hope that I allowed them to think for something. When I left their universe, when I left the universe of the Jehovah's Witnesses, I left that cult, right? When people blocked me, unfriended me, I hope that I left a message. Because I came out publicly and I said, hey, these elders reinstated an apostate. What I did was a social experiment. It was a religious social experiment. And I did that to wake up the Jehovah's Witness community. And before these people would block me and unfriended me on social media, I wanted them to know that elders have no Holy Spirit. Because if they did, my apostate ass would have never been reinstated. So I was sending a message to all Jehovah's Witnesses to stay awake, stand firm, and grow mighty. Stay awake in the sense that, hey, listen, what you believe is the truth. It's not actually the truth. It's not actually the truth. Stand firm. You stand firm on your beliefs. You believe that this is the truth. Then guess what? Put it to the test. I encourage you witnesses to put it to the test. Now, when you try to talk to your family, and Jehovah's Witness friends about this organization, and you try to spread the real truth about the truth, 9 times out of 10, it's going to backfire. Now, I heard stories where people, they've spoken to their partners, their spouse, they've spoken to their relatives about the corruption, about the CSA cases or Australian Royal Commission. I heard stories where people showed, they shared YouTube videos, jwfacts.com, Reddit. They shared all these experiences with their family members, and the entire family have woken up. Good for them. I'm so happy. I love to hear stories like that when the entire family has awoken. All I want. I love to hear those stories. But a lot of times, that is not the reality. A lot of times, people don't wake up like that. Families, people in groups, they don't wake up like that. And most times, 9 times out of 10, that doesn't happen. So me personally, I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to share the truth about the truth with my family. My mom and my 2 brothers. I'm going to tell them the truth about the truth. There was a sister that I was seriously interested in Australia. I said, oh, I'm gonna tell her the truth about the truth, and she's gonna see this for what it is, just like my family. I was telling them the truth about the truth. The people that I've known for 15, 20 years, 20 plus years. I stayed awake. I stayed firm. And I grew mighty in what I believe in. Sorry, not just what I believe in, but what I know for a fact is not the truth. I know for a fact that this is not the truth. So I stand firm to my beliefs. I approach all of my family, my former Jehovah's Witness friends, everybody. Everyone who was a witness, I stood forth before them. I told them, guys, listen, I love you guys 100%. I love you guys. This is not the truth. I know you understand it. I know you believe with all of your heart that this is the truth. I know you think that I'm going to tell you apostate lies, but this is not the truth. And I have facts to prove. I have facts. I can prove that this is not the truth. You think that my family and Jehovah's Witness friends, you think that they were inclined to listen to what I had to say? No, not at all. Not at all. The minute you speak negatively about the cult or Jehovah's Witnesses, they are indoctrinated to automatically cut you off. Whoa, you speaking negatively about this organization? I don't want to hear what you have to say. I don't want to hear what you have to say. Just keep it to yourself. People were shunning me, blocking me, unfriending me from left to right. People that I known for 15, 20 years. My own mother told me, don't talk to me ever again. You're an apostate. She didn't even hear what I had to say. Even though I stood firm. I knew what I was talking about, right? I was awake, I stood firm, and I grew mighty in what I was in my beliefs. Because unlike my mother, unlike my Jehovah's Witness family and friends, they don't have facts that this is the truth. All they have is faith. And if your faith can't be scrutinized, if your faith can't be questioned, then guess what? You don't have the real truth. If you can't look at outside resources, if you can't look at outside materials, if you can't look at jwfacts.com, if you can't look at YouTube videos from former members, if you cannot look at Reddit, Quora, Google, if you can't look at your own religion outside jw.org, then guess what? You don't have the real truth, because that means that your leaders are lying to you. Your leaders are lying to you. So, I can stand firm. I have faith. I can grow mighty in what I believe in. But as a Jehovah's Witness, can you do that? You cannot do that at all. Because as a Jehovah's Witness, you standing firm, you having faith, you growing mighty in what you believe, means going on jw.org. And your leaders will tell you, oh, we're not inspired by God. Oh, we are infallible and we make mistakes. We don't get it right all the time. Does that make sense to you? How can you how can you stay awake? How can you grow firm? How can you be almighty? How can you think that this is a true religion if you can't even question it? If you can't even scrutinize it, if you can't even put it to the test, how can you say that this is a true religion? How can you say that? You can't say that as a witness. If this is the truth should be tested. It should be scrutinized. It should be questioned. It should be doubted. And it should still be the truth at the end of the day. At the end of the day, it should still be the truth. So, as a witness, can you stay awake? Can you stand firm? And can you grow mighty? Just by simply believing and having faith that this is really the truth? Now, in the March broadcast, I think it was the broadcast, right? The March 2024 broadcast. There was a song that was being played. I feed my faith and I starve my doubts. I feed my faith and starve my doubt. What's that about? How do you feed your faith with no sufficient proof, with no sufficient evidence that this is the truth? How do you feed your faith? How do you starve your doubts? Just by simply having faith. Now let's convert this. Excuse me, I got the hiccups. Now let's convert this, right? Let's say that this was a spouse that was having doubts about their partner, and they thought, they said to themselves, you know what, my partner is, they're saying a lot of things. Just like the governing body leaders, they say a lot of things, right? The governing body leaders, they say a lot of things. But does their actions match with what they say? If what you say and what you do is two different things, then you're contradicting yourself big time. Big time. So how can a witness say, oh, I'll starve my doubts by feeding my faith? How do you feed your faith if you can't look outside the realms of JW.org? Make that make sense. You're just supposed to blindly believe in the men in the organization that already tell you they aren't even inspired by God. If someone tells you they're not inspired by God, guess what? It's time to hit the road. Hit the road, Jack. I ain't coming back no more, no more, no more, no more. It's time to hit the road. That makes no sense. You know why? Because guess who else isn't inspired by God? If the governing body leaders, they said they're not inspired by God, guess who isn't else inspired by God? I'm not inspired by God. You're not inspired by God. He's not inspired by God. She's not inspired by God. Nobody on this planet is inspired by God. So if the governing body leaders are not inspired by God, why continue to listen to them? Will you listen to me if I said, oh, don't do this, don't do that? No. You would say, oh, you're a mere man. Who are you? The same applies to the governing body leaders. Who are they? If they're not inspired by God, then who are they? Who are they? They're no different from me and you. Nobody on this planet is inspired by God. So who are the governing body leaders? They are self-proclaimed. They say, oh, we're inspired by God. That's like me saying, I'm the strongest man on planet Earth. I'm flexing. How can you justify that I'm the strongest man on planet Earth if you don't look at other people who are stronger than me online? If you don't physically see people that are stronger than me, that have bigger muscles than me, how can you justify and say I'm the strongest man on Earth? Just because I say I'm the strongest man on Earth, you're gonna take my word for it? You're gonna take my word for it? No. So why do you take the governing body leaders' word for it? They say that they are God's inspired people. They are God's channel. Listen to us, obey us, or die. Who are they? If witnesses can't verify that, right? If you cannot look at outside resources online, how can you verify and say that they are God's chosen channel? If you can't even verify it, you have to just take their word. So how do you stay awake? How do you stay awake? How do you stand firm? How do you grow mighty in what you believe in? And if what you believe in is not even, you can't even prove that it's the truth. A Jehovah's Witness can never say that we have the solid proof. We have proof that this is the truth. A Jehovah's Witness can never ever say that. It's all faith driven. And your faith should be able to be scrutinized. Your faith should be able to be questioned. It should be able to be doubted. And guess what? At the end of the day, you should have sufficient proof that this is the truth. And if you don't have sufficient proof, then guess what? It's not the truth. It's not the truth. So all of you people out there, all of you PMOs, all of you ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, we already know what time it is. We know that this is not the truth. But this goes out to all you Jehovah's Witnesses that are on the fence. And here in the year 2024, there's going to be a whole lot of people that have questions and doubts. I'm making this video for a reason. Today is March 20th, 2024. March 20th, 2024. You might be watching the video in the year 2025, the year 2030, who knows? Who knows? But I'm making this video for a reason, because this organization, your leaders are constantly changing their doctrines. They are constantly flip-flopping their doctrines. So I'm making this video for all of you Jehovah's Witnesses that are questionable, that have doubts, that are iffy. You're on the fence. You think it's the truth, but you're not quite sure because your leaders are constantly flip-flopping, right? So I encourage you to look at jwfacts.com. I encourage you to look at YouTube videos as to why former members have left this religion. Look at the Australian Royal Commission. Stay awake, stand firm, and grow mighty. How do you do that? How do you do that? You put your religion to the test. What you believe in? This is your entire life. It is dictated by 9 men. So if they are wrong, they say we're infallible. We make mistakes. If they make mistakes, then guess what? That means that a lot of times they have been wrong in the past. And obviously they have been wrong presently, because they continue to change their doctrines. They continue to change their doctrines, which means that they are not inspired by God. Because remember, as I always say in my videos, Malachi 3:6, God does not change. He doesn't change. So I encourage everyone that's watching this video, stay awake, stay firm, and grow mighty. How do you do that? You do your research. You do your research on this organization. If you believe that this is the truth, then guess what? The truth should be scrutinized. It should be questioned. You should be able to ask as many questions as you want, and this should still be the truth. But you can't do that as a witness. You cannot do that as a Jehovah's Witness. So is this really the truth? Is it? You have to find out for yourselves. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Take care.